we need to talk. Video game movies have been getting out of control, and I mean literally out of control. The Minecraft movie, which was released last week, has had teenage boys completely losing their minds during screenings, throwing popcorn, jumping on seats, and even body slamming employees. I've only ever had 2 bad movie theater experiences, one during the Minecraft movie and the other during Five Nights at Freddy's, both of which are video game adaptations. But what if I told you that video game movies used to be the joke of the film industry? For years, they were seen as guaranteed flops, awkward, poorly written, and almost always missing the point of what made these games special in the first place. Like the bizarre 1993 Super Mario Bros. Movie, which left studios hesitant to adapt beloved video games. But somewhere along the way, that all changed. Now, video game movies are not only thriving, they're dominating at the box office. Films like the 2023 animated Super Mario Bros. Movie shattered box office records, grossing over $1.36 billion worldwide. The Minecraft movie was never expected to make much money at all, with critics estimating it would make around $65 million worldwide in its opening weekend. Well, it ended up making over $163 million that weekend, and now it's the highest grossing film of the year, earning $550 million worldwide, and it's only been out for 2 weeks. With the way things are going, we're about to get a lot more video game adaptations within the following years. Whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. So before the floodgates fully open, I figured now's the perfect time to rank all the ones we've gotten so far. We're talking the good, the bad, the why did they even make this? And oh yeah, we're not just ranking the ones that are out already, we're going full on conspiracy theory mode and ranking the upcoming ones too. I'm talking Until Dawn, The Legend of Zelda, and the Minecraft movie too. I'm gonna predict where these upcoming adaptations will land on my ranking. Trust me, after watching, you're either gonna be hyped or horrified for what's to come. Or maybe both. Okay, so I'm gonna be ranking these movies on a tier list made up of 5 categories, and those categories are: number 1, we have absolute cinema, and these are for movies that I just think are perfect adaptations. They're great, I love them. You get the point. Number 2, we have this was fun. These are for movies that weren't exceptionally good, but they were still a super fun ride. Up next, we have I See the Vision, and these are for movies that I see where they were trying to go, but they just didn't really hit the mark for me. Next, we have Forgettable. Nothing special about them, probably should have been left alone. And lastly, we have Fire the Person Who Made This. And I mean that literally. Fire the person who made this movie. Okay, so disclaimer, I won't be ranking every single video game adaptation because I haven't seen them all, so these will be mostly recent releases, and I will be going in chronological order, so stay till the end to see the upcoming releases. So ladies and gentlemen, grab your popcorn, but please don't throw it, and let's dive into this wild, wild world of video game adaptations. Oh, this is gonna be hard. Starting off, we have the 2016 movie Assassin's Creed, starring Michael Fassbender. Based on the video game with the same name, with the help of technology, Callum learns that he's a descendant of a dangerous society. He travels back in time to learn about his ancestors and acquire skills to defeat an evil organization. Now, the issue with adapting a well-loved video game is that if you don't get it right, fans are gonna tear it apart, and that is exactly what happened here. The main sort of consensus is that it's really poorly written and just a huge CGI mess. I think the issue with this film was that they tried to cram the entire storyline of the game into just 2 hours, and it ended up feeling so crammed and confusing. I did see this film a long time ago, so I don't really remember all the details, but I just remember I left feeling really dissatisfied, and yeah, I just didn't enjoy it at all. But I'm curious if anyone actually liked this film, so let me know in the comments. And you might as well subscribe whilst you're there. No pressure. Anyway, the film grossed around $240 million at the box office, which meant it just barely broke even from its $125 million budget. In other words, it was pretty much a box office flop. It has a rating of 5.6 on IMDb and 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. In my opinion, I do think that people were being a little harsh with it, but I think the bar is set so much higher when it's an adaptation of a game that you play interactively. Regardless, I still think this movie was quite bad, so I'm gonna put it in the forgettable tier. Yeah, I think that's where it belongs. Moving on swiftly to the 2016 movie Angry Birds. Now, I used to love this game when I was younger. When an island populated by happy flightless birds is visited by mysterious green pigs, it's up to 3 unlikely outcasts to figure out what the pigs are up to. There's really not much to say about this film other than the fact that it's just your average kids film, but that's not to say that a kids movie can't be great, because there are some amazing ones, as you'll see later on in this video, but the humor just wasn't for me, and that's probably because I'm not 7 years old. But on the other hand, I do think that kids movies can be really funny, so I just feel like there was not much effort put into this. It ended up grossing around $352 million worldwide and has a rating of 6.3 on IMDb and 44% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is a tough one for sure. I'm debating between Forgettable and Fire the Person Who Made This, but I want to do this video with my honest opinions, so I'm gonna have to go with Fire the Person Who Made This, and I know that seems harsh, okay? Sue me, but we're being critical in this video. Next up, we have the 2018 adaptation of Tomb Raider. Based on the video game with the same name, Lara Croft, a courageous and independent young woman, sets out on a dangerous journey to unravel the truth behind her father's mysterious disappearance. It's a pretty simple plot to follow, and I think that the lead, Alicia Vikander, I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name or not, I think she was great in the role and really embodied the character of Lara Croft. The movie itself was definitely fun and exciting with some really cool action scenes, but in saying that, it wasn't anything groundbreaking. The big downside I had with the film was I thought that the story and supporting characters weren't that strong, and that did put me off a bit. The movie has quite mixed reviews, but a lot of people really loved it and wanted to see a sequel with a stronger story, but considering the fact it's been out for 7 years with no sign of a sequel, I highly doubt that. The movie ended up grossing $274 million worldwide, but experts say that the film needed to gross $275 million to break even, just $1 million off. So I think the fact that it didn't break even is the reason why we're not getting a sequel, and I do think it's sad because I see potential with the franchise. It has a rating of 6.3 on IMDb and 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. Based on everything I said, I don't know. I'm stuck between This Was Fun and I See the Vision. I think I'm gonna put it in I See the Vision. I think that is the perfect place for it. Don't hate me for that, but there are far worse ones to come. Let's move on to the 2018 film Rampage starring The Rock. Now look, maybe I'm just a Rock hater, but I haven't seen one single good movie with him in it. The story follows a primatologist named David who shares an unshakable bond with a silverback gorilla called George. When a rogue genetic experiment goes wrong, it causes George, a wolf, and a reptile to grow to a monstrous size and set off on a path of destruction. The movie is based on an older game, which I haven't played, so I can't really speak about it from that aspect. But just as a movie though, it's pretty terrible. I don't understand because it's both non-stop action and incredibly boring all at the same time. I will also never get over the fact that they made The Rock have the same strength level as a huge gorilla. There was no logic used in that, and you just know it was The Rock's idea. To my surprise, the movie ended up grossing $428 million worldwide. It has a rating of 6.1 on IMDb and 51% on Rotten Tomatoes, which again is really surprising. That definitely doesn't change my overall opinion on the movie, and I'm afraid I'm gonna have to put this in Fire the Person Who Made It. I'm sorry to all the Rock fans out there. Next, we have the 2019 movie Dectective Pikachu, which is obviously based on the game Pokemon. The story follows a man named Tim as he travels to Rhyme City to settle the affairs of his late father. There, he meets an intelligent talking Pokemon called Pikachu. They then both team up together and go on an adventure to try and solve his father's last case. This movie is definitely targeted towards kids rather than towards older fans of the game, and I think it did a good job in that aspect. It was really entertaining and the CGI was on another level. The downside for me was that I found the characters to be quite boring and the story was just all over the place. Also, the plot of the film wasn't actually based on the game, it just uses the characters and the aspects of the game, which I do think they were smart in doing that. The film ended up grossing $433 million worldwide with a rating of 6.5 on IMDb and 68% on Rotten Tomatoes. But again, it's really nothing groundbreaking. It does a good job at being a kids film, but that's pretty much it. I'm really debating whether or not to put this in I See the Vision or This Was Fun, but I think I'm gonna have to go with This Was Fun, and that may be controversial because I know a lot of people didn't really like this film, but I really liked it. Moving on, we have the second installment in the Angry Birds franchise. Don't ask me why there was a sequel. I don't know. In the film, the birds and the pigs islands come under threat when Zeta, the leader of Eagle Island, wants to occupy them. The pigs suggest that they should put their differences aside to unite and fight the intruders together. The one word I can think of to describe this film is overstimulating. It never allows for viewers to process any moments before the tone quickly shifts, which just leaves you feeling really emotionally confused. I know that people will say, oh, it's just a kid's film, it's not supposed to be revolutionary, but I do think that kids deserve better. The film grossed $147 million worldwide, which is a lot lower than I expected. It has a rating of 6.4 on IMDb and 72% on Rotten Tomatoes. The second film is definitely better than the first one, but still, it's really not that good, so I'm gonna have to put this in forgettable. Yeah, I think that's a good place for it. Up next, we have the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which came out in 2020. Based on the iconic game with the same name, the movie follows an alien hedgehog named Sonic, who is discovered by an evil scientist called Dr. Robotnik, who is played by Jim Carrey. Sonic must stop the Doctor from using his powers for world domination. From this point on, it is so clear to see that these big studios keep using the same formula of turning these video games into kids movies, because this and Detective Pikachu were literally just the same movie to me. It was a lot more entertaining than I thought it was gonna be, and I think Jim Carrey's performance really stands out of this film. But whenever I think about this movie, I think about when Paramount released the first teaser pictures of Sonic, and it was genuinely one of the most disturbing things I had ever seen. The internet went crazy about it, demanding that they fix him immediately, and surprisingly, that's exactly what Paramount did. They went back and made the character design look 10 times better, and I think it's just really cool for a studio to do that. You don't see that very often nowadays. It ended up grossing $302 million worldwide, which is a lot lower than I expected, especially considering they've just greenlit a fourth film in the franchise. It has a rating of 6.5 on IMDb and 64% on Rotten Tomatoes. Despite all the good things I said about this film, I really didn't think it was anything special. I think it's definitely a good start to the franchise. I think it's a really good introduction to the character. So based on that, I think the only place to put it is in I See the Vision. Shocking, I know, but I think it fits good there. Moving on to the 2020 film Monster Hunter, which is based on the game with the same name. The story follows Captain Artemis and her group of soldiers as they get pulled into a world where dangerous monsters and humans coexist. Grappled by danger, they must find a way to escape with the help of a mysterious hunter. Where do I even start with this one? The movie is just really, really bad. It was just non-stop action for the entire film, and the camera cuts were so fast, it felt like I was watching it in 2 times speed. I'm not even joking, it was like I was watching a Mr. Beast video. The only storyline in this film is that they need to destroy this tower with the portals in it. That's it. There's no side quests, there's no character development, it's just fighting monsters non-stop. The only redeemable part of this is that the CGI was pretty good, but that must have been where all the budget went. Despite its $60 million budget, it ended up only grossing a meager $42 million worldwide. It has a rating of 5.2 on IMDb and 44% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm sure this will come as no surprise where I rank this film, and that is straight into fire the person who made this. Okay, moving on. In 2021, we got the release of the movie Mortal Kombat, which follows a washed-up MMA fighter named Cole, who is chosen to join a team of champions in a high-stakes battle to prevent the Earth from being taken over by the Outworld. Now, I haven't actually played the game, so I can't tell you how good this stands as a video game adaptation, but as a film, it's pretty average. In my opinion, I don't think the acting was that strong, and I felt like the storyline was super rushed. From what I've read, it does stay pretty close to the source material, and it does have some really cool action scenes, so I'll give them that. It's also rated R and is quite graphic, so if you're into that, then you'll probably like this, but for me, it was a little bit too much. It grossed around $84 million worldwide and has a rating of 6.1 on IMDb and 55% 65% on Rotten Tomatoes. There is a sequel coming out later this year, which I think has the potential to be better than this one, but as a standalone film, I think this was pretty forgettable to me. Next up, we have the 2022 Uncharted movie, which is based on the very well-loved game. Starring Tom Holland, the film follows Nathan Drake, who gets recruited by a seasoned treasure hunter named Victor to recover a fortune which was lost over 500 years ago. You basically either love this film or you hate it, and I think I lean more towards the hate side of things. It has a super stacked cast with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, but I think they just ended up both playing themselves, which I absolutely hate. I think that the writing definitely didn't help with it being so unbearably cringe at times. It just felt like a childish Indiana Jones ripoff. I'm being a little dramatic because I don't think it's that bad compared to other video game adaptations, but I still think it falls very flat. It grossed around $407 million worldwide, which is a lot more than what I was expecting. It has a rating of 6.3 on IMDb and 41% on Rotten Tomatoes. Look, is it the worst movie on this list? Absolutely not. I think it has to be in forgettable, and you can fight me in the comments. Next up in 2022, we have the second Sonic movie. When Dr. Robotnik returns with a new partner, Knuckles, in search of an emerald that has the power to destroy civilizations, Sonic teams up with his own sidekick on a journey across the world to find the emerald first. Now, it's rare for a sequel to be better than the original, but I think that's definitely the case with this film. It has better characters, better plot, a cleaner and faster pace, which I definitely think was necessary. There was a big change in the goofiness of Jim Carrey's character, which I know a lot of people didn't like, but I don't know, I found it iconic. The film did drag a little bit and could have been like 30 minutes shorter, but I think other than that, it was pretty solid. It ended up grossing $405 million worldwide with a rating of 6.5 on IMDb and 69% on Rotten Tomatoes. See, this one is difficult because I really am debating whether or not to go in I see the vision and this was fun, but I do think that it was a lot more fun than the first movie, so I'm gonna have to put this in this was fun, and I'm scared to make that decision because I know a lot of people will come after me. Maybe I'm being too nice, I don't know. Let me know in the comments where you would put it. Things are starting to heat up a little bit now because we have the iconic 2023 Super Mario Bros. Movie. The story follows two brothers, Mario and Luigi, as they are transported through a mysterious pipe into a magical new world. But after the brothers get separated, Mario must team up with a cast of familiar characters to save Luigi from the evil Bowser. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really have high expectations going into this movie. I kind of just expected it to be another mindless cash grab, but I was very pleasantly surprised. I absolutely loved this movie. The story was engaging, the voice acting was incredible, and it was so visually stunning. I was also so unexpectedly surprised at just how funny it was. It had me giggling throughout the whole movie, and I don't usually laugh at movies. The movie grossed a whopping $1.36 billion worldwide. Billion! It became the first video game adaptation to gross over $1 billion, which of course made all the big studios jump on this trend. It has a rating of 7 on IMDb and 59% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a lot lower than I thought it would be. But I don't care. I think that this is what I mean by you can make a good kids movie and it can be enjoyable for all ages. So I'm gonna have to put this in absolute cinema, and if you disagree, then I think that you just hate fun. It's as simple as that. After the success of Super Mario Bros., things really started to kick off, and we entered into a new era of studios just trying to adapt every single video game movie that they can get their hands on. So speaking of, we have the 2023 movie adaptation of Five Nights at Freddy's, a game that I never ever thought would be a movie. The movie follows a troubled security guard who begins working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. While spending his first night on the job, he realizes that something is wrong with the pizzeria, and pretty soon he finds out the truth about its animatronics. I really loved the game, and I thought it would be such a cool concept to be adapted into film, so I went into the movie having really high expectations. Adaptations, and I was very much disappointed. I think the film's biggest mistake was making it a PG-13 when the video game is a horror. You can tell they tried to give it a horror vibe whilst also being child-friendly, which ended up just making it laughable. Now, you may think that this isn't really a big deal, but as someone who grew up terrified of the game, this was definitely a big letdown. The only slightly redeemable quality was that it included a lot of Easter eggs from the game, but that was pretty much it. The acting wasn't the best, the dialogue was cringe, it felt more like I was watching a Disney Channel show. It ended up grossing $291 million worldwide, which is a lot lower than I thought it would be. It has a rating of 5.4 on IMDb and 32% on Rotten Tomatoes. This is a tough one because I didn't think it was the worst movie in the world, but it definitely wasn't good. So I think I'm gonna have to put this in forgettable. I feel like a lot of people are gonna disagree with me on that one, but it has to go there. Up next, I decided to break the rules and include a TV show adaptation just because I think it is so good and deserves to be on the list, and that is the 2023 show The Last of Us. Based on one of the best story games of all time, the story takes place after a global pandemic destroys civilization. Joel and Ellie set off on a trek across a post-apocalyptic world filled with ruthless killers and monsters. This is easily one of the most fateful adaptations ever made. It's clear that every detail was handled with so much care and respect for the original source material. The acting is amazing and the story is so engaging. I just think that this is the perfect adaptation. It is really hard to speak about a TV show in just a few short words, but if you haven't seen it, then I highly suggest you go and give it a watch. It has a rating of 8.7 on IMDb and 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is insanely high. You can already probably guess where I'm gonna rank this, and that is straight in absolute cinema. Putting it anywhere else would literally be a crime. Moving on, we have the 2024 movie Borderlands. Returning to her home planet, Pandora, an infamous bounty hunter, forms an unexpected alliance with a ragtag team of misfits. Together, they battle alien monsters and dangerous bandits to uncover one of Pandora's most explosive secrets. I don't even know where to start with this film. It is just so bad. Like, genuinely one of the worst movies I have ever seen. It strayed so far from the original source material, and the actors in the roles weren't even close to their video game counterparts. It has an absolutely stacked cast filled with A-list actors, but you can just tell that they did not want to be there. It must have been where all this movie's budget went, because visually it's a mess. The CGI looks so cheap and unfinished. The action scenes are chaotic and poorly choreographed, making it so hard to follow. It is just a complete mess. The movie had a budget of around $115 million and ended up grossing a disappointing $33 million, which is just shocking. It has a rating of 4.7 on IMDb and 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's really no surprise where I'm gonna put this, and that is straight into fire the person who made this. I almost wish there was a tier lower than that. I would avoid this movie at all costs, and I feel terrible for the people who had the displeasure of viewing it. It is really that bad. Next up, we have the 2024 movie Sonic 3. Yes, they made a third one. This film follows Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails as they reunite to battle a character called Shadow, a mysterious new enemy with powers unlike anything they've ever faced before. This is undeniably the best out of the 3 films so far, and that is so rare for a third installment. The film combines thrilling action, humor, and emotional scenes that keep you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. I love when they actually put effort into kids' films and develop the characters in ways that also teach lessons for real life. I thought that both the acting and voice acting was just incredible, and yeah, overall this is a really good movie. And again, I went into it thinking it was just gonna be a low effort cash grab, but I was so surprised at how entertaining it was. It grossed around $491 million worldwide, which I definitely think should be higher. I feel like a lot of people avoided it, just assuming that it was gonna be some silly kids film. It has a rating of 6.9 on IMDb and 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, which again, I still think is really low. But I mean, mean, the audience score was 95%, so that should tell you how loved this movie was by fans. I'm debating whether to put this in This Was Fun or Absolute Cinema. Is it crazy for me to put this in Absolute Cinema? Oh, I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna do it because personally, I think this was so good. Oh my god, don't hate me for this. Ugh, but I do think it looks a bit silly next to The Last of Us, but I'm just gonna leave it there. Next up, we have the movie that everyone has been talking about, and that is the infamous Minecraft movie. The story follows 4 misfits who are suddenly pulled through a mysterious portal into a bizarre cubic wonderland that thrives on imagination. To get back home, they'll have to master this world while embarking on a magical quest with an unexpected crafter named Steve. Where do I even start with this? Okay, I'm gonna put all the chicken jockey mayhem to the side for a second and just focus on the actual movie, which was trash. Yeah, sorry, not sorry. This movie was terrible. I understand that it's targeted towards a younger audience and it's not supposed to be taken seriously, but there was just so many things wrong with this movie. Given the creative team behind this, there was a lot of potential for it to be a crazy family fun adventure, but instead, it's 80 minutes of cliche plot lines, incoherent character arcs, and pretty average CGI. The plot was also just all over the place, and it was really confusing to follow at times. And before you teenage boys come after me saying I don't know what I'm talking about, I've been playing the game longer than you have been alive. I am far more qualified to talk about this than you are. Something I hated in the film was the fact that the 2 female leads seemed to only be involved so the studio could tick off some boxes. Whilst the 3 boys got to go on cool adventures throughout the movie, the girls were forced to stay behind and play house, which I think was very disappointing based on the amount of girls that play Minecraft and was so excited for this movie. I've also seen an alarming amount of clips of teenage boys booing every time a woman appears on the screen. I've come to the conclusion that there must be some sort of secret hypnotic messaging within the film to get these teenage boys to act this way, because I don't know how else to describe it. The movie so far has grossed an unexpected $550 million, which is just insane. It has a rating of 6 on IMDb and 46% on Rotten Tomatoes. Look, I get that the movie is supposed to be a meme, but that doesn't mean it's not a bad movie. There was so much happening all at once that I literally don't remember half the movie, and I only watched it last week. So I think for that reason, I'm gonna have to put this in forgettable, and I know I'm gonna get hate in the comments for it, but I'm sorry, it's the truth. Okay, so now this takes me up to today, and we're waiting for a handful of adaptations to drop within the upcoming years, so let's go through them quick fire and predict how I think they'll do. Starting off strong, we have Until Dawn, which is based on one of my favorite games, but the fact it's based on one of my favorite games makes me so hesitant for this film. I really hope they do it right, but I don't have much hope, so I think I'm gonna have to put it in I See the Vision. I know that's low, but I just don't want to get my hopes up, okay? Up next, we have Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I think if they take on the backlash from the first one and try to use that to improve the second, I think it will do okay. I just don't have faith that they will do that, so I think it's gonna have to go and fire the person who made it. It seems harsh and I sound like such a hater. Next up, we have Sonic 4. The fact that each film was better than the last is so rare and unheard of that I don't think it can be repeated again. I feel like number 3 was its peak. I feel like now they're just pushing it and I don't think it'll be received as well, so I still think it will be good, but just not as good. So I think I'm gonna have to put it in I See the Vision. I only worry that it will just get so oversaturated with Sonic that it will just make the other films lose their value, if you get what I mean. Next up, we have The Legend of Zelda. Now, I'm really excited for this one. I think if they get the casting right and they stick to the source material, it could be amazing. I don't want to get my hopes up, but I think I'm gonna put it in Absolute Cinema. I think I'm just gonna gamble. I have a gut feeling it's gonna be good, and I really hope I'm right. And finally, we have a Minecraft movie number 2. I think you guys already know where I'm gonna put this. I don't see a world where it could be better than the first one, even though that's not hard to achieve. I think they're just gonna stick with the silly, goofy vibe. They know that they don't have to put much effort into it for people to come and watch it, so I don't have any hope for it at all, so I'm gonna have to put this in by the person who made it. Yeah, that's a good spot for it. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Comment down below what video game you would like to see adapted into a movie. I would love to see Plants vs. Zombies as a movie. I think that would be so cool. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't lose me in the crazy algorithm, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!